Friends, well, it is a real treat to have Cathy Burns from IFPA with us. She just gave a great introductory speech to the Mexico conference, but there's so much that's going on worldwide in the produce industry, and so we'll talk a little bit about that. But Cathy, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Nate.
It's
always
a treat.
Great. Always great to catch up with you, and looking forward to our conversation.
The couple things jumped out at me. One of them, you mentioned that Mexico is the third largest membership, and that it's important. So tell me why.
Yeah.
What is it about Mexico that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously being part of the North American market and the trade flows between Mexico, the U.S., and Canada are so critical to the fresh produce industry and the floral industry as well. So as you mentioned, Mexico is our third largest membership market and growing.
Wow.
So that's exciting. So it just shows you the interest that our growers and actually everyone across the supply chain, there's a ton of retailers here today and yesterday, which is very exciting. So because IFPA represents the full supply chain and represents the globe, there's a lot of different members that want to, quite frankly, get in on the action of membership, because ultimately it's our goal to be indispensable to our members. And I should probably back up and say associations exist to do things no single company can do on their own. And
it's that shared burden, many hands make light work.
Exactly. And so, if some of the things that we're tackling, especially in the advocacy space, we need to have one unified voice for fruits and vegetables around the globe. And Mexico is such an important market in that. I mean, of the 18 billion that gets exported from Mexico every year, 17.2 billion goes to North America.
That's amazing.
So that right there should signify the importance of Mexico to Mexico, but also Mexico to the rest of North America. And I know Mexico also wants to grow outside of North America, so we have the connections to ultimately open markets for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, just to diversify, differentiate a little bit what they're doing. That's great. Yeah,
exactly.
You talked about the impact of tariffs, and I don't want to get too deep into that, but it is an important consideration.
It is.
And so what are we doing as a produce industry to say, hey, we need some help here, or what does that look like?
Well, the first thing we did last year when the tariff conversation was starting is we advocated for full exclusion of fruits and vegetables and florals for tariff exemptions. We were very fortunate that we were one of the first agriculture groups that actually went in and met with the White House. So we met with the United States trade representatives, and we met with the National Economic Council. We brought our board of directors, who's a global board, into the White House, and as I mentioned, advocated for exemption and for full protection of USMCA. Yeah. Because at that point, right out of the gates,
it was up and nobody knew.
Nobody knew, right? And I'd love to believe that because of our advocacy and others as well, but across agriculture, that we said, protect USMCA. You created this. This administration created this. Protect it.
Keep it alive.
Exactly. And they did. And so that was a huge win for the industry writ large. Now, as you know, we are back to re-up. The renewal process for USMCA is upon us. Yeah. So we have a working group. IFPA has a working group, but we're also part of a larger agricultural coalition to ensure that we do no harm to USMCA, or at least that's what we're advocating for. I'm sure there'll be tweaks to it, no question, but it's such an important trade agreement across Mexico, the US, and Canada that we'll do everything that we can to advocate for protecting it.
That's great. Okay, two other things that were mentioned. One really piqued my interest. There's a lot of data about what's being sold cross-country, cross-borders, and all of that. And how to get your arms around that data can kind of be complicated. And there's companies that sell it, there's companies that, but always knowing, is it reliable? Is it properly, I don't know, curated, the right word? And you mentioned that there's something that specifically for members. And how does that work? Or tell me a little bit about that.
I'm so glad that you asked about that, Nate. I could spend the next 2 hours talking about the Global Intelligence
Engine. We might get in trouble.
I know, and I know we don't have 2 hours. But we, last year at the Global Show, launched the Global Intelligence Engine. And the team actually created basically a chatbot that has proprietary data, curated data. Some of those data points that you mentioned, we actually purchase, where it would be be very costly for smaller, mid to small organizations to purchase it. But with IFPA, we're providing curated data that at the end of the day, I like to talk about our global intelligence engine as having the smartest person sitting next to you in the room all the time.
I think I already have that.
No, no. If I had the global intelligence engine right here on my laptop, we'd be doing great. So what it does is it is built for our industry, for fruits, vegetables, and flowers. It does not hallucinate. So if you typically ask other platforms a question, and they're always going to give you an answer. If this engine doesn't know the answer, it's going to say, I don't know the answer, or point you in, maybe point you in a different direction. But it has consumer research in there. It has trade data in there. Food safety data, sustainability. So I'm really encouraging members to lean in and use, again, the people that have used it said this is transformational for how I look at my business, run my business. Ultimately we'd love to get into a predictive model.
That'd be cool.
But right now it's taking the data real time, combining that with consumer research data across the globe. So we have a lot of different markets in your language. If you ask it a question in Spanish,
you'll get an answer in Spanish.
You're going to get an answer in Spanish. I think it speaks 62 different languages. Wow. So super excited about
phenomenal.
The potential there. It's a member-only value, so you do have to be a member of IFPA to have an opportunity to get it. But I promise you it will improve the positively improve the financial results of your business.
Yeah, I think of, like I said earlier, the USDA info or whatever, but it's just one thing.
Exactly.
And so it doesn't give you an accurate view. And so the more data points that you have, that's phenomenal. So anyway, it piqued my interest.
Yeah, I was with a mushroom grower recently, and we were sitting around a table having a conversation, and mushroom sales were declining. And he's like, geez, I'd love to know, how do I drive mushroom consumption with Gen Z? Yeah. And at the time, we didn't have the global intelligence engine. So we're all brainstorming. I'm sharing from my retail experience what I would do, and others were sharing. So then now I plug it into the global intelligence engine. How do you drive consumption of mushrooms with Gen Z? It literally gives you a whole plan. I mean, not that you would have to do it all, but
but it gives you some ideas.
Of how to tackle it. So it's an indispensable tool that, again, is free to our members, that has a lot of proprietary data in there, that's a differentiator for our industry.
Final question.
Okay.
Kind of, we know floral is in there, but sometimes it kind of gets sent to the back of the conversation. But you said something today about the health benefits of exposure to flowers cut and fresh.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about that. What's the studies behind that, and why should people go smell more flowers?
Sure. Well, floral is never on the back burner in my mind,
That's great.
Or for IFPA. They're a critical part of our portfolio. And we also support them with a lot of research, advocacy, tools, and solutions to issues that no one else is helping them solve. But there have been quite a few research papers done on this, actually, that the presence of floral in your home, around you, actually helps your mental well-being. Wow. We in North America are very behind other parts in the world in terms of our purchasing power of floral, and it's not yet part of our culture. If you go to Europe,
everybody's got flowers.
It's just price of entry into the home. Yeah. Like, they always have flowers in their home. They're buying. The frequency is probably a 10x what it is in North America. So we have a huge opportunity here to really transform that business. And the more that we can talk about the connection to mental well-being, 73% of the population is anxious, has some type of anxiety. And given the world events, given what people are up against, with AI coming in, and there's the real threat of job elimination, as opposed to, I think it's just going to be people are going to be doing
reduce anxiety.
Things. Yeah, think about it. You can reduce anxiety by buying flowers.
And it makes sense, because one of the big challenges is, how do I get from wherever it's being grown to the end user, and to have that combined with the produce. You've got people that are already shipping refrigerated or already doing this, not that they can necessarily travel together, but at least the processes are similar, and it's just a perfect match.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think the logistics are necessarily the barrier. I think, I mean, part of it is, you need cold chain. Mexico certainly needs to continue to invest in cold chain to open up that market, especially in floral. That is probably a gap, but it's really about the demand. We need to keep now. We did see a step change in demand during COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody was home.
Yeah.
Everybody was anxious. People wanted to, there was all this do-it-yourself things at home. Yeah. And floral sales early were not great. But then there was a slow build, and we've kind of kept up there, but leveled off a little bit. We need to continue to see growth in floral.
Yeah, we're really blessed. We live in Yakima, Washington. Our traditional Costco run is you go in, the first thing you do is you get your 2 clams of every kind of berry.
There you go. 2
things of lettuce, two different grapes, and then everything else, right? Yeah. And limes, lemons, avocado. I mean, we go produce first and then everything else. And then we got fresh cut flowers. Yeah. There's, it's local, all that. It's great. But yeah, wherever you are, folks, you can brighten up your day and brighten up your life with the flower side.
Absolutely.
And we're saving lives. Is what was it, 1.2 million?
1.4 million lives were saved by countries that import fresh fruits and vegetables.
So it's not the importing; it's the eating of the imported fruit. So 100%. You got to get it on your plate.
100%. I mean, if I just take the U.S. statistics, 90% of the people in the U.S. do not eat the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables that are part of our dietary guideline. 90%. And
you gave a number like the recommended is like 400 so it's like almost a pound.
It's so small, 400 grams. It's so small throughout the day. I mean, you have the whole day to eat it. So our issue is really trying to drive eating occasions. Yeah. We believe that regardless of what the dietary guidelines say, or even in service of the dietary guidelines, whether it's here in Mexico or in the U.S. or around the world, you should be eating fruits and vegetables all day, every day. Every meal.
Fresh is best.
Yeah, every meal, every snack. It doesn't have to be a huge plate. Yeah. Half the plate, or combine it with something else you're eating. So I think that's the real step change in our performance is consumption. And I'm counting on the next generations to help us do that.
So here's the deal, folks. If you're in the produce industry and you're not coming to these regional conferences like this, you're missing out. And there's great information, there's great contacts. Like Cathy said, the retailers were here, food service people were here. It was just a great opportunity for buyers and growers to meet. And so that's important.
Absolutely.
And the information that you're getting is really transformational for many businesses. And you've got owners of companies, you've got growers from all we got from Central America, all the way up to Canada. We have all kinds of people here. So you're missing out. If you're in the produce industry and you're not going to these, you're missing out. Yeah. Number 2, if you're a consumer and you're saying, why is this on my feed? What we want to say is make sure that you support your local grocery stores, make sure you're buying produce. We would love to see you put that 400 grams of fruits and veggies on your plate for your benefit, because it'll make for a healthier life. And buy a bouquet of flowers too. Everybody in the house will like it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.